During the month of January, we've been talking about faith beyond belief. And we've used Brian McLaren's book, Faith After Doubt, because McLaren characterizes doubt as a passageway from one stage of faith to another. Last week we talked about the stages of simplicity, complexity, and perplexity. And if you haven't listened in to that sermon, I invite you to do that so that this sermon will make a little more sense. This week I got an email from somebody reflecting on their own journey, and they said, "In simplicity, I was told who I am and what to think. In complexity, I found my own authentic self and purpose. In perplexity, I found that religion and I did not have all the answers, and that questions became as important as answers." And then he goes on to say, and that led me to, those questions, that led me to new sources of revelation and worlds of meaning, into the stage that we're going to talk about today, harmony. For McLaren, perplexity, that stage of perplexity is the transition to harmony. Perplexity is all about cynicism, questioning, disengagement, disillusionment. But as doubt in perplexity leads to harmony, in the stage of harmony, harmony has the ability, that stage, to embrace the non-dualistic thinking. When one enters the stage of harmony, you begin to be able to hold binaries in larger context and see a greater unity. Harmony really is a different way of seeing, a different way also of interpreting experiences. Many people stay in the stage of perplexity for a long time, particularly people who have been disaffected by institutionalized religion. But I want to contend that many people that are in perplexity, though disillusioned, really long for what is the state of harmony, whether they return to church or not. And that stage of perplexity often leads them to the stage of harmony. Harmony is all about mystery, that there's something beyond, but that it is a mystery. And that, as that email said, we have less answers and more questions. I think of harmony as Rumi puts it. Rumi has this wonderful quote, "Out beyond the ideas of right doing and wrongdoing, there's a field. Meet me there." That field of Rumi, when I can be in that field that Rumi so eloquently describes, it's a field that is beyond judgment, beyond correct beliefs or any notion of correct beliefs. It is a field of deep recognition of one another, a profound knowledge of our interconnectedness and interdependentness. It's a field of right relationship, enfolded, enveloped in love. In that field, love is primary. Love is ultimate. You know, we throw around that word love so much in our society. I want to offer you a description of love by Valerie Kaur, who is from the Sikh religion, and she writes a beautiful book called See No Stranger, and that book is about revolutionary love. She says, love is more than a feeling. Love is a form of sweet labor, fierce, bloody, imperfect, and life-giving, a choice we make over and over again. If love is sweet labor, she goes on, love can be taught, modeled, and practiced. And this labor engages all of our emotions. Joy is the gift of love. Grief is the price of love. Anger is the force that protects that which is love. And when we think we have reached our limit, wonder is the act that returns us to love. McLaren would say that doubt is the passageway, and in fact, he would say doubt is love, or doubt as love. Doubt is the doorway to love, he says. It prepares us for a humble and harmonious faith, a faith that expresses itself in love. That, friends, is the stage of harmony. In harmony, life is a gift, a mysterious gift perhaps. But God, if God is even named, is a loving presence, is that creative wisdom known through experience and metaphor. If you're in the stage of harmony, you are asking yourself regularly, what can I do? How can I be part of the common good? You know, I wasn't going to use this, but I just feel compelled to. When I first came to California in 1991, I was deep in the stage of perplexity, disillusioned, disengaged, cynical, in a lot of confusion and a lot of pain, spiritual and emotional pain. And if you had asked me at that moment what I had ever, if you described the state of harmony, would I have reached that stage? I probably would have told you no. But what I found was that loving presence through experience. That was 30 years ago, and I was just coming out. And I had been told all my life that I couldn't love God and love women. But that was not my experience of love or of God. In the stage of harmony, everything belongs. There's no distinction between the sacred and the secular, and all is connected. In harmony, faith is a humble, reverent openness to mystery that expresses itself in non-discriminatory, revolutionary love. That faith that invites us to go beyond our labels, beyond our ingrained prejudices that are part of the air we breathe, beyond our notions of right doing and wrongdoing, beyond even moral codes that religion sets up to keep people in certain places. And if the congregation was full, the pews were full this morning, I would say, is anybody with me? It's that kind of love that walks right into this messy, beautiful world, and love that takes the world as it is in this moment. And sometimes that is really hard to do. I'm finding it very difficult these days to take the world as it is and then to ask myself, how do I show up as a loving presence in this world, in this moment? So the stage of harmony sounds like it's an enlightened stage. But I want to offer that we touch the state of harmony, or the stage of harmony, and maybe it's more like a state that we visit off and on. We embrace it as a path, but it will be a lifelong practice to make it a way of life. Somebody this week sent me another email about this and really helped me think about it. Somebody very dedicated and devoted to the church. He said, I believe I have stayed pretty much in perplexity throughout most of my adult life after college. In the past 15 years or so, especially with this band of brothers, that's a group here at CCSM, during the last 10 of those years, I have seen glimmers of harmony. Not that I'm a full participant in harmony, I still only see glimmers. He says, I like the thought of loving all my neighbors, but putting it into practice is another thing. And he said, so honestly and authentically, for now I can only aspire to having revolutionary love, loving as God loves, graciously, extravagantly. But I'm still alive now, and I can grow. That really helped me think about the stage of harmony. It's hard to call it a stage when it's so difficult to live in revolutionary love on a regular, consistent basis. I know that I have visited states of harmony many different times, whether it was worshiping with a Muslim on my left side and a Jew on my right side, and having an experience of divine love that transcended all our religious differences and united us in a way that was a moment of pure spiritual ecstasy. Or whether it was walking a spiral with a group of women in the woods and feeling my female ancestors who I knew walked the spiral centuries and millennia ago. Faith in the stage of harmony, or the state of harmony, is a sense of oneness. Brian McLaren puts it this way: faith before doubt is about correct beliefs. Faith after doubt, it's about revolutionary love. So we could ask ourselves, are we people of faith or are we people of beliefs? Faith after doubt, it's about revolutionary love, and that is such a profound, central piece of our Christian scriptures, whether it's the Sermon on the Mount or the Great Commandment, the new commandment and covenant Jesus makes, whether it's the beautiful words that were read for us this morning from 1 Corinthians 13, though I give away all my possessions but have not love, I am nothing. So to sum it up, in harmony, faith expressing itself as love. It's that simple. Just take that sentence with you. Faith expressing itself in love. One of the best examples of that is Martin Luther King Jr. One of the best examples of someone who lived in the stage of harmony is this prophet, this pastor, this teacher, this activist, this civil rights leader. King knew, along with Cornel West, that justice is what love looks like in public. Love means that no one's humanity is contested. Love means that any blessings that I enjoy, I want for you. When you read King's writings, you can see him exemplifying the perspective of the stage of harmony everywhere. He says, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice anywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Those of you that have been part of this community for years will know that Martin Luther King Jr. is one of my most powerful role models as a leader, as a pastor, as a prophet, as an activist, because he expressed his faith in love. It propelled him forward, though so many forces raged against him. Whether it was fire hoses or snarling dogs or bully clubs or the government or the police or the white church. The law was not on his side. The police were not on the side. A racist society were not on his side. But love and right and justice was on his side. And he chose to be an extremist for love. And that is what would get him killed. In his famous letter from Birmingham jail, he said, was not Jesus an extremist for love? He ends that letter by saying, so the question is not whether or not we will be extremists, but what kind of extremist will we be? Will we be extremists for hate, or will we be extremists for love? Will we be extremists for the preservation of justice, or the causes of injustice? Tavis Smiley, who wrote a recent book called The Death of a King, said, the bottom line is, King put the idea of love at the center of our public discourse. Love translates to mean the equal worth of all living beings just because they exist. And Tavis says, I truly believe that the future of our democracy is inexplicably linked to how seriously we take the legacy of Dr. King. And that legacy, he continues, is justice for all, service to others, and the love that liberates all people. Dr. King exemplified the stage of harmony. And there was a handwritten note discovered in just 2020, a note that he wrote on a postcard that said, love is the greatest force in the universe. It is the heartbeat of the moral cosmos. He who loves is a participant in the being of God. For me, that is a greater definition of the stage of harmony than even McLaren himself can find. I'll close with this. Last week, when we talked about the different stages, it was a reading that I then quoted in my sermon by Rachel Held Evans, the late Rachel Held Evans, called On the Days I Believe. And so I'll offer this. On the days I live in harmony, I know, along with Martin Luther King Jr., that love is the greatest force in the universe, that it is the heartbeat of the moral cosmos, and that when I love, I truly participate in the being of God. On the days that I live in harmony, I can see belovedness and beauty all around me. I can see it in smiling eyes above masks. I can see it in the squirrels playing outside my window. I can see it and feel it in the touch of a hand on my shoulder. On the days that I live in harmony, I can show up as a human being, without labels, without judgment, encountering other human beings and seeing in them a glimmer, a glimpse of divine love. And I can offer them my curiosity, my respect, and love in return. On the days I live in harmony, I believe that God, however I name God on that day, that loving presence, that creative wisdom, that great mystery, that love and mystery seeks deep communion and friendship with every being, every creature on the earth. And on the days that I live in harmony, I know that when I follow the teachings of Jesus, that then I touch my highest self, my purpose, and my joy. And on the other days, I try to remember that because of love, that when I stray from that to which I aspire, I am still known, still loved, and I can return and be pulled by that love every moment that I am open to it. So, friends, may you and I commit to a faith that primarily and ultimately expresses itself in love. Amen.